Hi, everybody. My name is Becca Wamsley. I'm very happy that all of you guys can be here. Um, I'll give you just a little brief history of my work experience. I've been with Hansman Weevil now for a year and a half, and I've been with them in the small business accounting department. I've worked with several of you. So um, prior to Hansman Weevil, I spent 4 years with Intuit, and I began my Intuit journey with QuickBooks Online. So 4 years, the entire 4 years of that um, uh, time frame with Intuit, I was with. Uh, I worked in QuickBooks Online. A couple of years near the end there, the last couple of years that I was with them, I did spend time with QuickBooks Desktop, but my expertise is QuickBooks Online. So we wanted to do a frequently asked questions today about bank feeds because we get a lot of questions about the bank feeds module, and we do see a lot of errors that come through. We spend a lot of time cleaning up accounts and correcting things, and I wanted to touch on a few things that are really frequent that we see. I'm not going to get to cover everything that we see, but hopefully we'll get to do a second one later down the road that will cover um, some more things that we see, some more common issues, and some more common questions that we get. I do also want to say that I can't see your questions or the chat, but Rebecca's going to kind of be our moderator and help me. So when you guys ask a question, she may interrupt me and ask the question. If you guys want to ask a question, feel free to raise your hand also, and she can interrupt me during my presentation and ask the question. So I'll go ahead and get started. So what is the Bank Feeds module in QuickBooks Online? QuickBooks Online Bank Feeds module basically allows you to automatically import your bank and credit card transactions into your QuickBooks Online account. A couple of benefits of the Bank Feeds module is that it can save you time, and it can prevent any data entry errors that could occur by manually entering your transactions into QuickBooks. So one of, I guess, the main questions that we get is how do you connect your bank feeds? So the way that you would connect your bank feeds is you go to your banking tab. Now this banking tab on the left of your screen, some of you may actually see that now labeled as transactions, but you would click on that. And once you're in the banking module, you'll see a link account button in the top right-hand corner of your screen. And you'll have an option on that next screen to either search for your bank name, or you can even copy and paste your bank URL in that search bar there, and it'll bring up your bank website that you can click on. Now, QuickBooks Online does allow you to connect multiple bank and credit card accounts. So you can, you have unlimited connections that you can have in your bank feeds module. Before you start your connection process, though, you will need to have your bank and or credit card login credentials ready and on hand, because you're going to be prompted for that in that setup. Now, one of the steps in the setup is choosing the account that you wish to connect. You want to map that appropriate QBO account that's set up in your chart of accounts. And right underneath that, you're going to be able to choose the time period that you wish to import for your transactions. So this is a step that is very easily overlooked. It's right underneath where you map your accounts. So you want to be sure to look for that. It's kind of down near the bottom of the screen. Now this screenshot that's showing here, it doesn't show this, but there's now an option for a custom time frame So you can now choose a custom time frame as far as importing your transactions. So QBO does automatically import 90 days of your prior transactions from the date of connection. But if you want longer than that, or if you want to go back more than 90 days, you can choose that custom time frame option, and you can put in that custom time frame that you want to import. Now, this is going to depend on how far your bank will allow QBO to access your transactions. So some banks won't allow us to go back more than 90 days, but most do. Now, you also have the option to manually upload a file. So if you miss that step that I just showed you that asks for the time frame as to how far back you want to go to import your transactions, or if you have a bank that doesn't support the QBO connection, or if you need more transactions than QuickBooks Online can actually access, you can bring in those transactions manually with the file upload option. And the way you would do that is you would go to your bank's website and log in. You would download your transactions. All banks have an option to download your transactions. And you would want to choose one of these following file types. You could choose a CSV, QBO, QFX, or OFX. The easiest one would be QBO. And it's been a very long time since I saw a bank that does not offer a QBO option. So most major banks offer that QBO file download option now. Even if they don't allow the connection to QBO, they should offer that QBO download file. Then you would go back into QuickBooks Online, and where you have that file, that link account option, you're going to have a drop down, and you'll have an option to click File Upload. It's on the banking screen where you would go to link your account, and you would click File Upload. Another way to go to upload that file you could go to your gear icon and click Import Data. And on that Import Data screen, you would have an option to import your bank transactions, and you would upload it that way. Now, once your transactions are in QuickBooks Online, there are 3 different tabs on your banking screen that you can utilize to manage these downloaded transactions. Your first one that we'll discuss is your For Review screen, or your For Review tab, rather. This is going to be basically your first stop for your imported transactions. And this is where you're going to categorize your transactions here. You're just going to click on your transactions and select the appropriate categorization, the appropriate expense income account, liability account. You could also assign your vendor, your customer. If you have classes or locations set up that you're tracking, this is where you can assign that also. Once you're finished with that, you'll just click Confirm. You may actually see Add. Some of you may have the Add option, but Confirm or Add, whichever option you have, that's what you'll choose. Once you choose the Confirm or Add option, this is what will add your transaction to your QuickBooks Online bank register. So this For Review screen here, or this For Review tab, is what I kind of consider, what I say is your transactions are just kind of hanging out in limbo here. They're waiting for you to tell QuickBooks what to do with them. So you have to assign the category, the vendor, and everything. And then once you click Confirm and Add, then they're in your QBO bank register. The next tab that you see here, the one that's labeled number 2, is your Categorize tab. This is where you can locate all of your transactions that you've already confirmed or added to your register. If you realize you've made a mistake, you can go to this Categorized tab here, and you can undo any transaction. So you can locate them here, and you can click undo. Once you've undone a transaction, it throws it back over to your For Review tab, and then you can make any changes or edits that you need to change, and then re-add it to your register. And then the third tab that you're going to have here is your Excluded tab. This tab is rarely used, but there are some times that you're going to have transactions that maybe you don't need or that are not going to go into QuickBooks Online. You can exclude these transactions from the For Review screen. You can just put a little check mark in the box next to the transaction, and you'll have an option to exclude them. When you exclude them, they go to this Excluded tab. On this, they stay here. They stay here until you do something with them. You can delete them from this screen, but I don't recommend doing that. Just let them stay here because you may realize that you do need them and you need to bring them back. So you can come back to this Excluded tab. You're always going to have access to these transactions, and you can move them back to the For Review tab if you realize that you do actually need them and you do need to put them into QuickBooks. And you would do that the same way you would do on the Categorize tab. So you would just click on your Excluded tab, you would locate the transaction that you actually need, and you would click Undo. And once you click Undo, it would throw it back over to your For Review tab. Then you could categorize it, assign what you need to assign to it, and then add it to your register.
Becca, before you move forward, we do have a question in the chat related to when you're bringing in new accounts. So I'm going to read it for you since I know you can't actually see the chat. And then Paige, if you want to add more to that, please feel free to unmute yourself. So Paige said, we use the link accounts to download our credit card transactions. All of our cards are linked to the same main account. When we have a new employee card to link, I go through the same process to add the new card account, but it automatically adds the balance from all of our cards to the opening balance equity account. I create a journal entry to correct, but wondering if I'm doing something wrong when linking the new card or account.
Okay. So I think I understand what you're saying. When you connect a card or when you connect a bank account, QBO automatically will create a journal entry or a entry in the register to your opening equity account. That's going to be the actual balance of that's in your account or on your card, whatever that balance is on your credit card as of the day that you connected that card. So you can create a journal entry to correct it, or you can remove it. You can delete it if you don't need that. So every time you connect or link a new account or a new card, there will be an automated entry created that brings in that balance as of the date of connection to, and it will the offsetting account will be your opening equity balance account.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions? One other thing I will say about the opening equity balance entries, I believe that QBO will automatically mark those as reconciled in your register. So it may be better to go ahead and just journal to offset that or to record that out rather than deleting it, because it could throw off your reconciliations. Okay. So the next thing that I want to discuss is how to record a transfer from your downloaded transactions in your bank feeds. This is a very common thing, a common issue that we see, and I'll discuss a few other things here in just a moment. But There will be, when you have a transfer, or when you have a transfer from one account to another, let's say you have your bank account, your savings account attached or connected, and you have a transfer from one account to the other. There's going to be 2 transactions under the full review tab for any transfer that you make. One transaction for the money moving in under one account, and one transaction for the money moving out under the other account. So you need to record both transactions as part of the transfer to keep your books accurate. So you want to find the transaction under the For Review tab, select Record Transfer, then select the account that the money was transferred to or from. Then select your Confirm or Add, whichever option you have there, to add it to your QBO register. Then at that point, before you do anything else, you immediately switch over to the other account that it either came from or went to. Locate the transfer in that For Review screen and ensure that this transfer is matching the one you just entered. QBO should recognize and pick up that match. If it does not automatically match, you want to click on the transaction and click the Find Match button to locate the transfer that you just entered. If you do not click that Find Match button and you don't match to the transfer that you just entered, and you just record it as a regular transfer and you click your Add or Confirm button in the other account, you will duplicate your books. So it's extremely important that you click the Find Match button if QBO does not automatically pick up that match. If QBO does pick up the match, then you can go ahead and click either the Match button or the Confirm button if match is being recognized. Are there any questions about about transfers? Okay. Another common question that we get is how to split your transactions or split expenses. So for example, if you have a car loan and you need to split that car loan between your principal amount, which would go to your liability account, and then your interest that you're charged, which goes to an expense account. You can definitely do that. And you would just do that by clicking on your transaction from your For Review screen. And at the bottom, kind of near the bottom where you see the little red square there on the screenshot, you'll have a split button. When you click that split button, another screen's going to pop open for you. And that's what the screen over to the right is going to look like. You're going to be able to fill in your payee at the top, and then you're going to have multiple lines where you can split this transaction. You have the option to add more lines, so you can add as many lines as you want if you want to split the transaction. And QBO will keep up with your total. So if for some reason you are out of balance, it's going to give you the difference here at the bottom, kind of near the bottom over to the right in red. So it will not let you add it if you've still got a remaining balance or a difference that needs to be added. Okay, so the next thing is credit card payments. So the record as a credit card payment is a newer feature in QBO. There's 2 ways you can record credit card payments. The first one is you can select the record as a credit card payment option. So you would just select the record as a credit card payment. You can choose your credit card that you're paying. You do have to choose the credit card that you're paying, so that it knows which card in QBO to record the payment towards. But the vendor is optional. You don't have to select a vendor. And then you can select Add or Confirm. Now this is going to work very similar to a transfer. So once you record this credit card payment, it's very important that you switch over to the credit card account, locate that payment on that for review tab, and make sure it matches. So make sure that you're matching it also. You don't want to go over to the credit card and then record the credit card payment without matching, because then you would also be duplicating your books. Now, another way to record credit card payments is to record it as a transfer. So you can record it as a transfer from your bank account to your credit card payment, or I mean to your credit card rather. And you would just click the record as transfer, and the transfer to account would be your credit card. So that's the credit card payment option was put into QBO just to avoid confusion, because most people didn't really understand why you would record the credit card payment as a transfer. So they just added the record as a credit card payment, which does exactly the same thing as recording as a transfer does. So you could record it either way. Are there any questions on that?
I have a quick question about that. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So when the transactions are downloaded, the payment will also show up as a transaction, and then that's when you would select record as a credit card payment for that transaction.
Yeah, a lot of times it'll come in and it may show, like, it may want you to record it as an expense, or it may actually be highlighted as the categorize option.
Mm-hmm.
Just switch it over to either one, whichever one you feel most comfortable doing, record as transfer or record as credit card payment.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we get a lot of questions on bank feed errors. So I want to go through most of them that you're going to see. Bank feed errors, you normally see them. You'll see maybe a red box underneath your bank connections, or a yellow box, an orange box with an exclamation point or an exclamation mark, just like you're seeing here on the screen. The first bank feed error that we'll discuss is bank feed error 103. This basically means that your bank's online sign-in credentials that you've entered into QuickBooks Online it doesn't match your bank's website, what the bank has. So something's changed since you've entered your online credentials, your bank's online credentials, since you set up your connection in QBO. Maybe your password's changed. So you can fix that by clicking that Fix This Now option, and just go through and re-enter your bank credentials. This usually fixes it. Always remember, anytime you change your password with your bank, you have to go in and fix that with your QBO bank feeds also, because if you change your password with your bank, then QBO no longer can connect to your bank to bring in the transactions. Bank feed errors 102 and 105, those mean that there may be a problem on your bank's end. This usually means that their website may be undergoing some type of maintenance. They may be having some type of server issues. Anything that they may be changing something on their end, anything that they're doing on their end can interrupt the online bank connection in QBO. This usually doesn't last very long. You just want to keep checking back with QBO and clicking that update button that you see there. If this lasts longer than 48 hours to 72 hours, it wouldn't hurt to contact QBO support and just make sure that there's not a current ticket open that you may need to be added to. Bank feed error 185. This means that your bank is requiring some additional information after you've entered your credentials. This is going to mean mainly that your bank has some additional security requirements. maybe a security question or one-time passcode that you need to enter. And you can enter that additional information by clicking on that verify your information or verify your info button that you see there. A bank feed error 108. This means that there's a message from your bank waiting for you on your bank's website. So you have to sign into your bank's website and acknowledge that you saw and read this message. Now, usually these messages are like new terms of services that you see that pop up immediately when you sign into your bank's website, announcements like new offers, sometimes like new credit card offers, that those are the first things that just pop up as soon as you log in. These prevent QBO from grabbing your transactions, and they need to be cleared, those messages, before QBO can actually get your transactions. Once you actually go into your website and clear that, you need to come back into QuickBooks Online, and in the top right hand corner, click the update button, and it will update your bank feeds, and this message will go away and all of your transactions will download. Error number 324. This basically means that QuickBooks Online cannot find the account that you set up through the bank feeds when it tries to connect to your bank's website. So something's changed. Your bank account is closed. The website has changed. Your bank has maybe been bought out. The web link has changed. So you would want to click that reconnect your account and go through the reconnection process. You may need to change the URL that it's linked to, or if your bank account is closed, you may just need to reconnect a different account, the new account, or a new credit card account. Maybe your credit card account or your credit card number was closed due to fraud or something of that nature, and you had to get a new credit card number issued. You may see this error message. So you would need to go and reconnect the new credit card number. Error number 101. This means no valid account, and it's kind of similar to the one that we just spoke about, but it could also mean that there's not been any activity or no transactions showing in that account for the last 12 months, or there has been some type of issue on your bank account or credit card side where the terms and conditions or the agreement was not able to be accepted. So you would want to reach out to your bank to see if you feel like you're giving this an error. You would want to reach out to your bank, and you can also click this, report this, and get a message when it's fixed. You can report that message straight through QBO without having to contact them. So you can go ahead and report that if you feel like you're getting the error or the message in error. If you feel more comfortable speaking to someone, you can contact QBO support and let them know that you're getting this message in error. Bank feed error 350. Some banks do require you to reconnect your account every 90 days. Others only need you to update it every 18 months. This is not all banks. There are just very few that require this, but this error means that this connection has expired. So your bank is requiring you to update this connection, and all you need to do is just click that update now link and just go through re-enter your login credentials, and your bank connection will be reconnected.
Becca, we have a question in the chat.
Yeah.
So Paige said, one more question. When I confirm the credit card transactions, a message pops up that says, you didn't select a class. Select a class or add this transaction again to ignore this warning. We don't use classes, so I'm wondering if there's a way to turn that off because it pops up with every transaction.
Yeah, there's a way to turn that off. If you don't use classes, then you can go turn that class setting off in your settings. So if you go to your gear icon and then go to account and settings, and then at the very bottom of the menu on the left, there's going to be an advanced option. Click advanced, and then in that menu or in the options on the right or on the main screen, you're going to see, I think it's labeled categories, but there's one that's classes and locations. You just want to toggle that off, and you won't get that anymore.
Thank you. I wish I would have known that years ago.
You're welcome.
That's awesome. Thanks.
Uh-huh. Okay, and so that brings us to the end of our first webinar for our frequently asked questions on bank feeds. But I want to take some time to answer your questions that you may have that were not addressed.
It doesn't seem like anyone has questions at this moment, but if you come across some other questions later, Rebecca has put her email up here, but also if you're like, it was great that we talked specifically about bank feeds. I'd love it if you did another webinar with frequently asked questions on X topic. You can feel free to email that to me or to Becca. And Becca will put together another phenomenal presentation, I'm sure.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, I see a question maybe coming in chat.
Okay.
Also, just since Becca can't see the chat, oh yeah, thank you. So Paige said this was such a helpful session. Thank you very much. And Joe said, thank you so much. Very helpful. So thank you, Becca, and thank you everyone for attending.
Yes, thank you all for attending.
I'll be sending out an email later this week with the slides and the video.
Yeah, and if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help.
Thank you.
Thank you all.